Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have 3 stories for you today. You better open this dang door. Golden handshake and come back to consult? You betcha. And make that machine go faster. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. You better open this dang door. This happened back in the day. At your local Arizona convenience store. Strange things were definitely afoot here this night. Just after sunset, it's literally like I'm Legend, where all the infected beer run specialists show up. They get pretty cocky, and many think they're slick, but over time I've learned their patterns in order to prevent major losses. This kid comes in the side door. We are shaped like a golden rectangle and have a left and right side door. He walks to the joint, eyeballs the place, sees the human-sized stack of 18 packs of cerveza, then lights up. I'll stop here to tell you that, for safety's sake, our doors lock with a button under the counter. Important info. He asks me if he could look at the cigarettes that are behind me, then starts to mention the higher up ones. I thought this guy may bolt, so I locked the doors, turned around, and there was a suspicion-confirming thud that reverberated through the happiest parts of my soul. As this man staggers up with a miraculously unscathed 18-pack, he looks at me in the first panic and then anger as the realization sets in. Now I'm probably looking panicked because I didn't initially have a plan past here. Just as I'm about to say something, the man realizes he's still holding a beer and winds up running at the doors. Smack! He runs again while saying, "You better open this damn door." Enter malicious compliance. Do you want me to open the door? I'll open it. I'll open it straight to hell. He makes one last charge, and I press the button to unlock the doors at the last second. I knew he'd get sent flying, but he flew through it and tumbled so gloriously, better than I could have planned for. The doors flew open as he literally somersaulted, and that 18-pack busted open in a spiral of cans. He stumbled, bumbled, and fumbled around, grabbing the cans that didn't go off into their own little spiral, spraying everywhere. All this for a few cans of generic. Again, like I am Legend, and it's book to movie adaptation, it's unclear whether I'm the good guy or not. Our next story. Golden handshake and come back to consult? You betcha. My dad was an aeronautical engineer who worked in the 1970s and 1980s, designing a very specific and critical part of airplane engines, specifically, the thermodynamics in the nacelle. In his heyday, he was one of only 4 people in the world with his level of knowledge and expertise in this particular area of aeronautics. He survived the various downturns in the economy in the aeronautical industry and was well respected worldwide for his knowledge and experience. At one point, something like 90% of the airplanes in the air used this particular part in their engines. When the mid-90s downturn happened, his company basically forced him to sign a golden handshake to cut costs. He gladly accepted. What they didn't anticipate is that he was the only person still working in the industry who understood this one particular part, and making him leave left a huge hole in airplane engine expertise and thermodynamics. Airplanes fly a long way, and even 25 years after he started, some parts of his engines were still in the air. Of course, his company realized this way too late and asked him to come back to consult. He's a nice guy, and he negotiated to come back at 3x his former hourly wage to pass on his wisdom. And our last story. Make that machine go faster. I work as a medical laboratory scientist, MLS, in a fairly large, 600-bed regional hospital. I'm the one that runs all the tests your doctor orders on your blood and other body fluids. Our testing areas, or benches, in the lab are chemistry, hematology, coagulation, urinalysis, blood banking, and microbiology, each of which has several analyzers, machines ranging in size from the size of a microwave to the size of a hippo, used for testing different things. I work nights, so it's just a skeleton crew in the lab, 2 of us MLS lab techs, 1 lab assistant, and 2 phlebotomists who double as specimen processors. As you can imagine, things get pretty busy with those many benches to cover for that many patients and just the 2 of us to cover them. Between level 1 traumas being flown in from all over the western half of our state and the eastern half of our neighboring state, heart attacks, surgeries, drug overdoses, sepsis, meningitis, cancer, etc., it's hard to keep up. Additionally, Much of the testing takes upwards of 15 to 20 minutes or more to run on the analyzer, depending on the test, and some a lot longer than that. Most of the nurses and doctors understand our constraints, and while we do get the occasional call asking when results will be ready, they mostly leave us alone. Well, last night I had a doctor call for the results of a hepatitis panel. These are not usually considered stat tests, but this one was ordered as such, so I got it running right away. But the panel takes a long time to run, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes, depending on whether it is reactive and warrants further testing. The doctor called me after I'd only had it on the analyzer for 15 minutes. I informed him that it would be at least another half hour, maybe as much as an hour and a half long, and he told me that was ridiculous and said that it had never taken that long before. I said I was sorry, but that was the only estimate I had to give him. 35 minutes later, the doctor walked into the lab. For those who don't know, this is an extremely rare occurrence. We see nurses and CNAs all the time, but doctors are too busy to ever come down themselves unless it's a dire situation. Me, hi, how can I help you? Doctor, are you the one I talked to on the phone earlier? Is my hepatitis ready yet? I'm not seeing it in the chart. Me, let me check. No, it looks like it's still running. The current estimate is another 30 minutes, and I'll be sure to release the results to the patient's chart as soon as it's finished. Doctor, 30 more minutes. That's insane. You told me about 30 minutes on the phone 35 minutes ago. Me, I told you at least 30 minutes and said it could be as much as an hour and a half. 30 more minutes is actually right in the middle of my original estimate. Doctor, this is totally unacceptable. You need to do something to make that machine go faster. I had about reached my limit with this guy, so at that point, I turned around and walked a few steps over to the analyzer in question, leaned in close to where I could hear the machinery buzzing along, and yelled, "Go faster!" as loudly as I could. When I turned back to the doctor, I noticed his face was an odd shade of purple as he turned around and stomped out of the lab without another word. He could write me up for unprofessionalism, but not without revealing himself to be a total ass in the process, so I think I'm safe. TLDR, a doctor demands I make a machine go faster, so I yell at it to go faster. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.